So that video I did yesterday just kind of worked out some things with A major, and actually found that it was a scale that I don't really use that much, and I really like some of the sounds in it. You know, writing in metal, I might take that and go into a more minor sound, something um, maybe either an F sharp minor, maybe the C sharp Phrygian might be more the speed that you want to go. But you could do anything you like. What sounds, what kind of mode you like. For what I try to write, usually anything that has a minor sound is usually best. So B Dorian might also be something you could write in. But yeah, no, I really and that was the point of this, is to put myself into scales I don't typically use, see how they sound, kind of go from there, and incorporate this stuff into things I write. Maybe I'll come up with something working on these, come up with a riff that might fit something else. It might, you might even transpose something that you have been writing in, maybe E minor, maybe just change that to F flat minor, see how that sounds instead, just to kind of get yourself out of the places that you're locked in. But really quick, looking at A major, of course you'd be dealing with A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G sharp to be the leading tone back to A. And obviously right now we're going from just each half scale, we're going down one, we're changing. So it's easy, and if you follow these in line, you're just taking all the shapes, just moving them down half a scale, and you're playing them. When it comes to and this would be something completely different, but when it comes to how scales are related, where it comes to chords, where we're probably going to have an A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, F sharp minor, G sharp diminished, and back to the A major for our chord shapes. There are some other scales that'll have more chords in common than what we've already done. Actually, I think with all the scales we've really done, there's nothing really been much in common with them. Obviously, like I said, what I keep going back to is the shapes of how you play these different scales or modes. Does not change as you go down the fretboard, but when it comes to scales and modes that relate to each other, obviously everything that you see in A major relates to each other, but they do relate to other scales as well, and we might go into that later. So I've got a clean tone sound on right now, and maybe we work on more of an F minor kind of sound. So with F minor, you definitely can fall back to the A. And honestly, just doing that, you wouldn't be able to tell if it is major or minor until you start throwing some other chords in there. Just the way they relate back to either the A major or the F minor. It could even be a combo where you're switching back and forth depending on how you're playing the melody and the scale for that. But that's really just even just kind of doing like that might be a good way to record something like that, and then kind of start doing something to solo over that. So that was something where I was making sure that I was falling back to F sharp all the time, so that way it was more in that minor sense. And that's just what you would do throughout the scale. You know, and all this, didn't want to go too long. Again, I had a minute, and so some change with that intro that I did. Trying to change things up, you know, in how I do these videos so they don't become completely repetitive. You know, luckily, at some point I'm going to have to get to scales that kind of are very similar. You know, when we talk about scales that relate to each other, there's definitely some scales that basically play the same chords and notes. It's just that they're named different. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But definitely really liked A major as something that I could definitely, you know, write some songs in. Definitely gives me a new perspective on the fretboard. Like I said, I didn't fear that I wouldn't be able to do a lot of this stuff and do the transitions. It's just that when you get locked into a pocket, you know, you got to break yourself out of it. So playing these other scales has definitely been beneficial for me. I did start a Facebook. I think it's just, and I'll figure it out for real. I think it's just facebook.com / Sanica band. That's all you have to type, and it should bring it up. I don't really have much going on there, but I might have to expand what I'm doing in this realm. If I do want to get music out there, I need to, you know, write some more songs, get those out there. But this video might be a long one. If you make it through to the end of this, thumbs up.